I like to start off with a mattress stitch. It gives me something to crochet into. So you can see this piece already has a mattress stitch on it, and I'm going to show you how to do that. This fabric I'm using, I actually am putting two pieces together because I'm making a scarf out of this and I want it to be double-sided. And the wrong sides of this fabric aren't as pretty. So I have these two pieces that I'm holding right sides together. This will work with a single layer fabric though. You do not have to have two layers. So you always, when you're making a mattress stitch, you're going to continually go in the same direction. I like to go straight down through my fabric because then I can see where I'm putting my needle, right? So it would be straight down. Now if you're working with just one layer of fabric, you're going to go ahead and just go straight down through your fabric. Leave yourself a tail, and then go straight down again. And when you pull the yarn this time, oops, look what I did. You see how I just caught another piece of that yarn in my needle? That is going to cause trouble as I pull my yarn, so make sure you don't do that. And what you want to do is make sure that the loop of yarn that you are pulling is towards your non-dominant hand, and the yarn tail is towards your dominant hand, okay? And you're working from your dominant side towards your non-dominant side. So as I pull, I have this little piece of yarn here that's coming out on the dominant side. This is the only point where you're going to do something different if you're using one layer of fabric or two layers of fabric, okay? Because now I'm going to show you what you can do if you're using two layers of fabric. That will kind of like make this step just a tiny bit neater. If you're using two layers of fabric, you want to open up and go down through just the bottom layer. Okay, and we're still going to leave a tail of yarn. Then we're going to close it, and we're going to go down through just the top layer and come up in between the yarn like it's a little sandwich, okay? Again, with the yarn attached to the needle will be on my dominant hand side, and the loop of yarn will be on my non-dominant hand side. And this is just going to make this beginning the tiniest bit neater, okay? And now from here on out, everything is going to work the same. If you need to mark where your stitches are going, then you can mark it. Use something like a chalk pencil, use disappearing ink that they make for sewing. They also make sewing markers that you can wash off with just water. It's all usually in like your quilt supplies. It would be like a quilt marker or a quilt pen or a sewing marker or sewing pen. And just check, make sure that it's going to work, that it's going to work with the fabric you have. I'm just using regular quilting fabric here, and most of those quilting pencils, whatever, work really well on quilting fabric, which is just usually a cotton. Now, in my case, I'm not going to mark them because I can eyeball it, and because I have this cheater fabric here that's got these little, like, it's been pinked, cut with those pinking shears. So it's got these little triangles, and each one is about 1/8 of an inch wide. So I can use that to guess my measurements. What you want to do is you want to put every stitch down 1/4 of an inch and over 1/4 of an inch. 1/4 inch is not a hard and fast rule. It doesn't even have to be the same distance down as it is across. For what I'm doing, I'm using the 1/4 inch, okay? So I'm going to go straight down through, coming down from the edge of the fabric 1/4 of an inch and over from my last stitch 1/4 of an inch. Straight down through. And now make sure that I am catching this loop. I'm just pulling it so that my yarn is coming behind my needle and over towards my non-dominant side. So again, every time the yarn that's attached to the needle is coming off on my dominant side, and the yarn that is making the loop is on my non-dominant hand side. And I'm working from my dominant side towards my non-dominant side. And what I did was I just kept pulling that until it makes this little kind of L shape. You can pull it too tight, and now you've gathered. which if you're trying to make a gathery hem, that's fine. But for a mattress stitch, we don't want that. We want this to have an almost 90-degree angle where we have this piece of yarn lying across the top and another piece coming straight down, just like we see here. Okay, now we're just going to do a few more of those. We'll keep on going. So I'm going to go down about 1/4 inch and over about 1/4 inch. Make sure I've got the yarn on the correct side. Okay, so you can see that I'm making these little loops. Okay, so I'll show you that again. Straight down through the fabric, going down 1/4 inch from the edge, over 1/4 inch from my last stitch. And my needle is going through the loop that I made so that as I pull it tight, I get that little 90-degree angle that's being held by the yarn. Okay, and you're just going to keep doing this. When we get to the corner, we're going to have something a little different. So as I'm moving over here towards the corner, let me tell you a few tips and tricks. As I said, it does not have to be down 1/4 inch and over 1/4 inch every single time. It doesn't have to be that way anytime. You can decide what works for your piece. You could also have them all, always 1/4 inch apart, but maybe the distance they go down varies. So you make little like peaks and valleys and designs with the stitches that you're seeing on the fabric. That could be really cool and pretty, right? You do what makes you happy. Now, the important thing to keep in mind if you're going to be crocheting into this is that this is going to help you with your gauge. So I know that each of these are 1/4 inch apart. So whatever stitches I want to happen within 1/4 inch are each going to happen in one of these little horizontal bars, okay? That is really great to know when you're crocheting. And if you know ahead of time, which you might want to figure out if you're coming up with a pattern on your own, or if you're using a crochet pattern that you're now going to attach onto fabric, if you know ahead of time what your gauge is, and let's say your gauge is 20 stitches in 4 inches. Okay, well then that means that in every inch you have 5 stitches. So what you would want to do is decide how you want to break that up in your mattress stitches. Because if you did every 1/4 inch, what that would mean is you would have 4 mattress stitches in an inch, but you'd need to put 5 crochet stitches in it. Which is fine because you could put 2 in the first one and then 1 and then 1 and then 1, and that would give you 5 stitches in every 4. So you'd put 2, 1, 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 1, and so on. And that's fine. The very first stitch where you're connecting your crochet to your mattress stitch, it's okay if you have to add extra stitches in and every once in a while, whatever, it works. It's not really a big deal. But if you know ahead of time what your gauge is going to be, then maybe what that means is that you want to make your mattress stitches so that there's 5 stitches per inch. So you always put 1 stitch in every single one of your mattress stitches, right? When you're doing your crochet. You can make those decisions as long as you know what your crochet gauge is, how many stitches you have per inch. Then you can make your mattress stitch match that so that there's always 1 crochet stitch per 1 mattress stitch, or there's always 2 crochet stitches per 2 mattress stitches. In this situation, I know that I have 8 stitches per inch, so that's why I'm doing the 1/4 inch mattress stitch. It works really nicely. I don't like my mattress stitches to be really tiny, especially not when I'm making them with yarn. So I like this 1/4 inch per mattress stitch because that means I will, when I start crocheting, put 2 stitches in every single one of these mattress stitches. That works out very nicely. Okay, here we are approaching the edge, and there was one more thing I almost forgot to tell you, which is when you are going to be crocheting 2 pieces of fabric together, like I am with this scarf, it is really important for your sanity that the mattress stitches line up. The number of stitches you have on this piece that you are then connecting to this piece, you want to line up. I have 16 lines across each side, so if you went through and you counted this, you would count 16 little bars across the top of my fabric on each side. There's 16 bars across here, 16 bars across here, and I have that on every single one of these. It makes joining two pieces of fabric with crochet so much easier when your numbers match. Okay, so now we're getting to the corner. I'm going to take this needle pin, and that's what it's called. I'm going to take that pin out. And now I'm going to start this corner the same way I would do any mattress stitch. I went over 1/4 of an inch, down 1/4 of an inch. I'm going to make this very first part just like we've been making the rest of them. Get this mattress stitch, there we go. Now we're going to do 2 more stitches in the exact same hole, okay? So I'm going to go straight down through the same hole. And this time when I pull my mattress stitch, I'm going to make it so that the yarn that is connected to my needle is going at this 45-degree angle. So right through this corner. There we go. So I get the last little bar that goes across the top of that fabric. Okay, don't pull it too tight. It's okay if it's a little bit loose. All right, things are gonna kind of jiggle around as you start crocheting into them anyway. And now I'm going to go straight down through this same hole one more time. Again, making sure that all of this yarn that's my loop is over on my non-dominant side, and that the yarn, my needle, is now over here on my dominant hand side. And it's gone through that loop. And you can see as I did that, I kind of messed up that first stitch that I had, and that's okay. You just kind of move it back where you want it to be. And it's pretty common for this stitch to look a little wonky, all right? But when you crochet in it, it's going to kind of hold everything where it needs to be anyway. Now that I've done that, I'm going to keep on going all the way around. And you're just going to do this all the way till you get to the other end. So we're going to meet when we get back to this last corner. I've gone all the way around my piece, and I'm back to the corner where I started. So I've gone down through that corner again to make this mattress stitch over here. And now I'm going to go through it another time to get the center mattress stitch, this little 45-degree angle stitch of this corner. Okay. Don't want to pull my yarn out there. Okay, so you can see that now I have all of the stitches that are going up and down, right? And I just need the very last stitch that goes across the edge of the fabric. I'm going to take my needle and come up through the first of these mattress stitches that goes across the top of my work. And that's going to finish everything off. Now, you can decide how you want to handle these ends. You can weave them in once you've done your crochet. If you're not doing crochet, if you're just doing a mattress stitch, you want to figure out a way to, do your knots or whatever and make them look nice and neat. Whatever works for what you're doing from here is what you want to do with your ends. What I'm going to do actually is I'm going to take these 2 little ends and I'm just going to do a little square knot just to play it safe. Okay, and then I'm going to go over like one little stitch and kind of bury my yarn back in underneath the fabric. Am I in between the two? I am. Okay. And then come out, make sure I'm not actually going through. There we go. All right. So I've kind of mirrored this top piece, right? Cut that off, and then I'm going to do the same thing with the other end. I'm going to mirror one of the top pieces. So I'm going to mirror this top piece and then come down in between all of this. Am I in between it? No, I'm not. In between my 2 layers of fabric. There we go. And then when I crochet around this, when I'm doing When I crochet over this piece, I'll be going over both of those, and when I crochet over this piece, I'll be going over both of those, and it'll just, and actually I think I kind of went over too. Whatever, it's fine. I'm going to be crocheting over that little extra edge, and that'll help hold everything in, but the knot is in there to hold things together as well. So you just decide how you want to handle those little edges. Now that we have our mattress stitch, it's time to crochet around our piece. So you need to make sure you know which side is the right side of your work and which side is the wrong side of your work, just like whenever you're crocheting. What I'm doing with these, since this is going to be a scarf and I want both sides to look nice, you can see some of they tend to have a print on one side and a solid on the other side. So, and I'm alternating them. So what I'm doing is I'm just making the side that has the print as the front or the right side of my work, and the side that has the solid as the wrong side of my work. So I'm going to go ahead and get my crochet going here, pick up my work, and I'm going to start on a corner. What I want to do is start with a standing double crochet in essentially the last stitch of one of the sides. So you see all of these little bars that go across the top of my fabric. I want to go into the very last one, and I'm going to make a standing double crochet there. So I have my slip knot or whatever around my crochet hook, yarn over, insert the hook into that loop, and we're just going to make a double crochet. There we go. Now I'm going to chain 2. This is my corner. Okay, and now in the very first stitch of this side, you see this is the first bar that goes across this side, I'm going to make 2 double crochet. I'm just working into that bar that's sitting right on top of the fabric. That's how nice this mattress stitch is to work into. Then chain 1 and then 2 more double crochet. This is just part of my little corner. You'll get the corners a little bit more when we get to the next one. You'll understand it a little better. Okay. Now what I'm going to do all the way across is I'm going to chain 1 and then 2 double crochet into the next mattress stitch. So I just chained 1, and now I'm putting 2 double crochet into this next mattress stitch. Then chain 1, 2 double crochet into the next mattress stitch. Keep on doing that until you hit the corner. Chain 1, 2 double crochet into the next mattress stitch. And when we get to the corner, I will meet you back here and we'll show you how a corner works. Here I am at the corner, and I've done my chain 1, and now I'm going to put my 2 double crochet into the very last stitch, the very last mattress stitch on this side of my piece. Now I'm going to chain 1 again and put 2 more double crochet into that mattress stitch. Then chain 2. Now I'm going to rotate my work and start working on the mattress stitches across the next side of my fabric. So I'm going to put 2 double crochet into the first mattress stitch on this side, chain 1, and then 2 more double crochet into that first mattress stitch on this side. And then chain 1 and then 2 double crochet into the next mattress stitch, and keep doing that. Chain 1, 2 double crochet into the next mattress stitch, chain 1, 2 double crochet into the next mattress stitch until you hit the corner. Do the corner the same way we just did. Keep on going all the way around until we get back to the first corner that we started at. I've made it all the way around, and I'm back to now what is the last mattress stitch across this side of my fabric, and I've made my chain 1. Now I'm going to put 2 double crochet into that mattress stitch, and then chain 1, and then just 1 more double crochet because I already put the first double crochet in there when we started this round. So now I'm just going to slip stitch to the top of that standing double crochet, to join my round. Now we're going to start our second and final round. So we need the piece that we're going to join to. Here we have it. And I am joining the printed side of this to the solid side of the other one. So I'm going to slip stitch into my chain 2 space and then chain 1. Now I'm going to put a single crochet in here, and my corner is going to be a chain 3, but I'm actually going to join with the corner. So I'm going to start with a chain 1, and then the second chain we're actually going to basically turn into a slip stitch into the corner of the piece that we are joining to. So here is the chain 3 corner of the piece that I'm joining to, and I'm making a slip stitch in there, which is counting as our second chain, and then chaining 1 more. And then I'm making a single crochet into the same chain 2 corner I started in. Okay, and that's the corner. Now to keep going, I'm going to make a chain 1 and then a slip stitch into the next chain 3 of the piece I'm joining, and then a chain 1, and then single crochet into the next chain 1 on my first piece. Chain 1, slip stitch into the next chain 3 of the piece I'm joining to, chain 1, single crochet into the next chain 1 space of this piece that I'm working on, chain 1, slip stitch into the next chain 3 of the piece I'm joining to, chain 1, single crochet into the next chain 1 space of the piece I am working from. I'm going to keep doing that. I'll meet you back when we get to the corner again. Okay, now I'm at the point where I'm putting a single crochet into the chain 2 corner. So I did my single crochet in this last chain 1 space, then I did a chain 1, slip stitched into the chain 3 on the joining piece, another chain 1, and now I'm putting a single crochet into the chain 2 corner of the piece I'm working from, chain 1, and then slip stitch into the chain 3 that is in the corner of the piece I'm joining to. Okay, chain 1, and then a single crochet into that same chain 2 corner on the piece I'm joining from, on the piece I'm working from, and that finishes off this side, okay, the joined side. Now all I'm doing is chain 3, single crochet into the next chain 1 space, chain 3, single crochet into the next chain 1 space. I'm going to keep doing that till we hit the corner. This is the single crochet into the last chain 1 space of this side, and then I'm chaining 3. Now I've hit the chain 2 corner. I'm going to single crochet, chain 3, and then single crochet again into that chain 2 corner. Then chain 3, single crochet into the next chain 1 space, and just keep doing this all the way around until you get back to where you started. And we started with this corner, so I'll do my single crochet in right here, I'll do the chain 3, and then I'll just slip stitch to the single crochet that started everything out on this round, and then you can fasten it off, weave in all of your ends, and just keep on going to join your scarf together. Then when it's all done, you can add on more of a border if you want to.